and welcome to a new episode of Ghoulish. I am Max Booth, a host, and today we'll talking about old spooky cartoons with special guest Betty Rocksteady. Now, Betty has written many books, especially the latest novella, The Writhing Skies, which I published through my small press, Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing. And it recently won a Novella of the Year from the This Is Whole Awards. This was actually the very first episode of Ghoulish I recorded before I exactly knew what this show was going to be. So, enjoy. I don't know why I'm doing this show. I was really tired last night, and I was too exhausted to do the things I had to do, and I just became convinced that I should do this new podcast, and then I messaged you, and then I went to sleep, and then I woke up today, and it doesn't seem like a bad idea still, so I guess I'm just going to do it and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unlike you to have a lot of projects on the go and then decide to do a different project. So this is a real change for you.
Do you think ADHD medication would help me with this?
Um, as a doctor, as your doctor,
Well,
yes.
you work in hospitals, so I mean,
I'm willing to type up like I'll falsify. I know how to do doctor notes, so I can falsify one for you to get your ADD medication. Yeah.
what's an ADHD medication? Like Ritalin?
Ritalin's like one of the common
Meth?
ones. Yeah.
Can you get me
Yeah,
meth?
I can definitely get you meth. Yeah.
How much is that going to cost me?
Well, luckily with the Canadian and US conversion, it's gonna be really cheap for you.
Oh, fuck, but what about the shipping?
The shipping's gonna fuck you.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Always with the shipping. So this show is, I don't know what this is, a variety show, I guess. Well, every episode I have a new guest on, and we just pick a topic that the guest is somewhat knowledgeable on, and we talk about it, and then after a certain point of time, we say goodbye, and then the episode is done.
And then, so like, are we gonna record this, or this is just a conversation, or how do podcasts work? I don't get it. Like, it goes out on the radio?
I'm going to be honest with you. If this isn't a podcast, I'm just really lonely and I need conversation with people. I'm not recording anything. I don't even have a microphone. I sold it so I could buy Canadian meth.
It's a very elaborate plan.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought I could just keep up this ruse with you, but now I crumbled within seconds.
You're a terrible liar.
I am, it's true. Uh, I mean, this show is celebrating spookiness because that's just what I do.
You love to celebrate.
I do
Not
love
even so much the
celebrating.
spookiness as the celebration is something that I associate with Maxwell third.
I am holding three candles in my hand right now.
Are they lit?
No, I don't get. This show is not about getting lit. Okay.
I'm on the wrong show.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
I thought it'd be nice if we talked about old spooky cartoons because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are in fact an old spooky cartoon?
Yeah, I am actually the personification of Swing You Sinners.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Hmm.
Now, with these old spooky cartoons, I am having a difficult time trying to decide what species these things are supposed to be. Are they cats? Are they mice? What's going on?
Well, I guess it depends on which specific character you're talking about, Max.
Okay, let's talk about, like... Well, I mean, all of them, like the protagonist, is always like this strange cat mouse looking creature. Like
They do all have a really similar look. Like, a lot of the character designs back then were very like bouncing off of each other. But like Bimbo is a dog, and then the ones in Hell's Bells which we'll be talking about the different ones. But those were just little demons. I don't think they looked a little cat-like.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the demons. But also then in Swing You Synalds, I mean the main Synal is the same type of species, right?
No, no,
What?
that's Bimbo, and he's a dog. And that is one of the early character designs of Bimbo.
Oh
He
my
ended up
god.
changing a little bit. But yeah, I think it's just
Is that how humans used to look in the 20s?
yeah.
Oh my god.
Humans were like a series of black balls balanced atop each other, and we moved a lot more wiggly, you might have noticed when viewing these documentaries I sent you. Yeah, limbs were a lot more wiggly.
I would love it if you drew like that image of like evolution of man, but be filled with like between ape and actual man. It just had one of these bimbo like creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should do that. I'll wait.
Okay.
I'll wait.
All right, I'll get started. You don't mind being quiet while I do that. Like, I'm gonna need about 27 minutes, so
I
if you
have
can
to be
just
quiet.
hush up. Yeah,
I'm gonna scream the whole time.
you would, yeah.
You should be animating as we do this podcast. That's one of the rules.
This is one of the rules of the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. And
Or one of the
at
rules
the
of...
end, we'll have a draw off. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I think I'll win, but
I am have all the confidence in the world you'll win. Yeah, you're an excellent artist. So yeah, we are talking about a bunch of like 20s and early 30s cartoons, and they're my favorite. They're really cool. They're all in black and white, and I know this is when like animation first became a thing, and they weren't aimed at kids. They were just kind of fucking around with cartoons and figuring out what cartooning even was. And it's just like this weird raw creativity. So yeah, the first one we watched today, or I told Max to watch, was the Silly Symphony's Hell's Bells one.
this was in 1929.
1929. That was a Disney one. Disney and Fleischer were the two big cartoon studios out at the time. I generally like Fleischer better. Although Disney is classically considered to be like the animation was better. I don't know. Fleischer just has a really raw weirdness to it.
Everybody seems to be having such a great time.
You know, yeah, the Silly Symphonies were cool ones. There's like no real plot. It's just like fucking around to music and weird little guys, and the Hells Bells is all little demons. And yeah, they're having a great time.
The studio that made this, is it US based?
It was Disney, yeah, that would have been in the US. And
Oh, I thought it was the other one. Shit.
shit, they were both in the US as
Okay.
far, yeah. This one was animated by UB Iwerks. He did a lot of him and Disney were like the best friends, and he did a lot of Disney's animation. Yeah, Hell's Bells is I don't know, we can get it. You can find these are all like out of copyright and shit. You can find them all on YouTube quite easily.
I just like how everybody's smiling and dancing.
I mean, it's hell, but they gotta have a good time, right? They're all these weird little demons.
It made me want to die.
Were you really like super set on living before that?
I was, yeah. I had just gotten home from a church and I thought, oh, I'll watch this video. And then I saw it and now I can't wait to go to hell.
Yeah, now that we know what hell is like, it's a bunch of little kind of cat-like demons dancing, and there's lots of like fun little animation tricks in it and gags and stuff.
Do you think that is hell? Like they can't stop dancing?
Yeah, remember, wasn't there like a dancing disease that happened once where everyone went crazy and danced?
Like in real life?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That does sound like something I've read about once.
I think my favorite part was when they were like the little demons were like milking the dragon's teats for fire.
Well,
And they
I'm not surprised you love that the most because if I know anything about you, you absolutely love dragons.
It's true, I love and teat milking.
Well, who doesn't?
That's
That was
true.
the original title of this podcast, but I don't know, didn't do well with the people I asked. I would love to have bone instruments because that's what they're playing in this show, they had like a bone violin.
Bone instruments was a very common Disney animation thing for some reason. Like you see that in this one, and then also in the Mickey Mouse Haunted House one
Yeah.
we watched, and also the Mickey Mouse Haunted House one. They just borrowed a lot of animation in that one from another Silly Symphonies, the skeleton dance. It's just like the same skeleton. I think they just traced it or something. So yeah, there's a lot of bone instruments. So you and Disney have something in common.
I wonder what began that fascination. I don't know, like all these cartoons we watched, it really much just seems like everyone wanted to see, well, what can we do with things? What crazy shit can we make these animals do?
Hmm.
Like it was less focused on like plot and more just like experimenting with animation.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Because they weren't really making stories with it. They were just kind of figuring out what they could do with anime. And this stuff took a long time to make.
Like a couple days.
Oh yeah, like at least 2 to 3 days for them to hand animate all this.
Wow, what a long time.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna take us like less than an hour to do this podcast. They were slacking back then.
They were, yeah, I mean, they were much slower drawn, I guess.
How long does it take you to animate a cartoon, Betty?
Oh, like 20 minutes.
Oh, that's it. Cool.
Max, full length cartoon,
Yeah?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I also like how they seem to have fun with shadows a lot, which I
Hmm.
appreciate.
At the beginning of Hell's Bells, there's like that bit where there's like a big spider and it like swings slowly, like it's almost like not a 3D effect, but it's going right toward the viewer.
Yes.
And that's kind of like a common little animation trick I've seen in them back then too. Like whenever they can have an excuse to do that, they'll throw something like that in.
What's the trick called?
I don't know if it's really a trick, but it's just
Did you just trick me about it being a trick?
I was just trying to fuck with you, yeah.
Oh man, you got me.
I know.
Okay.
I find but yeah, Disney was doing a lot of like clever little things like that. I find Fleischer's more like there's a lot of surreal things happening in those cartoons, like
Mm-hmm.
just weird like people turning into I think I showed you Minnie the Moocher a long time ago. We didn't watch that one today, but
Describe it.
at the beginning someone's talking to Betty Boop and they just turn into like a typewriter or something.
Oh my god, I don't know.
And then they go back to talking. I don't know. I remember maybe that wasn't even anyway.
Like for no reason at all, it just transforms and goes back, like a nervous tick.
Yeah, almost like that. Yeah.
Well, at one point in the Snow White one we watched last, the queen randomly turns into a frying pan with eggs and bacon in it, and then just transforms back.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that you see in Fleischer a lot. That's just like weird little surreal asides that the animators, it's almost like dream logic that they're following. I think it's really cool.
That's
It's one of my
awesome.
favorite things about those old ones. Like Snow White is the Betty Boop Snow White. That one's from 1933, and that's definitely one of my favorite Betty Boops of all time. And I think that's well known as one of like the best cartoons, most important cartoons of all time.
I thought you were gonna say it's well known as my favorite. Like everybody knows that about you.
Yeah, everybody gives a shit about that.
No, the ones we saw today, the Snow White one had talking in it, and the other ones didn't really have much dialogue. When did that initiate dialogue in cartoons, or had that already happened already?
It was like a really narrow window in there where it became more common because I think there's a little bit in the Haunted House one from 29. I think Mickey said a couple words and the death figure told him to play the piano or whatever. But as far as really getting a lot of talking in them, it's yeah, closer to the early 30s, like 33, 35 and stuff. I'm not sure what created that change though, but beforehand, like everything was almost like muttery.
The invention of microphones. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that might have had something to do with it.
Do you think someone like they were in the process of making the animation, and some random person was like, "Wait a minute, I got an idea. Give me that microphone. I'm gonna say something."
It probably blew everyone's minds. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
probably exactly how it went down.
What do you think they said as a test?
What's up? No, please edit that
Fuck.
out.
I will not edit that out, and
No.
that is staying for the rest of time because podcasts do not die. And long after we're dead, I don't know, these cat mice humanoids that rise will be able to listen. The second video we saw was Swing You Sinolds. So this is Bluto, you said,
This is
or
Bimbo,
Bimbo?
yeah. Bimbo's like Betty Boop's boyfriend in the first ones. Like everyone knows who Betty Boop is. Bimbo came before Betty Boop. He's a weird little dog creature. He's kind of like Mickey Mouse looking, but he's way cooler.
He does not look like a
He
dog.
doesn't look very much like a dog. His appearance changes a lot between the first couple cartoons as well. They didn't really have a character design nailed out.
The cop that chases him looks more like a dog.
Yeah, yeah.
My first takeaway from this cartoon is that chickens are assholes, which I think is a common theme in cartoons.
Back in the early, especially in this time period, yeah, chickens being assholes was a big problem.
I mean, I guess it makes sense.
30s was a different time.
You ever hang out with chickens?
I haven't spent like very much time around chickens at all. How about you?
Only once. It was pretty. I got
Yeah,
chased.
I'm not
Right. Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah, we went to this free clinic because we didn't have health insurance, and out in the backyard, we were just walking around like it was someone's house, and they just had roaming chickens, and they just kept chasing me in a group, and then I went to my vehicle, and one of them was just hanging out like by the front door, like, "Hey, you taking me
Did you
with
take him
you?"
with you?
Nah, I kind of just like scooted him along with my shoe. He didn't attack me or anything. He just seemed like I was being rude to
Well, it
him.
was pretty rude of you. I really would like to have some chickens, and then you would get eggs every day.
What did Bimbo do? Why is he like going to jail? All he did was fuck with a
Well,
chicken.
he's not going to jail. They're like,
Well, he's being chased by the law.
oh yeah, I guess because like, well, the chicken's kind of humanized. Bimbo's kind of humanized. Like they're all animal people, so I guess fucking with a chicken still makes you an asshole back then.
And by fucking with the chicken, it's like they're repeating the end of an annihilation. Like they're just walking around in a circle, mimicking each other's actions, and then once in a while changing
The beginning
clothes.
of this cartoon is so fucking weird. Like, it doesn't prepare you for how good it gets really quickly. Because, yeah, it is. It's just Bimbo, and he's like following this chicken around, and there's a weird song going, and they're like bopping their heads for a while, and then the cop comes, and there's a different cool song, and yeah, it is weird.
At one point, he's in a chain gang. He's slamming rocks with a one of those rock slamming devices. I don't know what you call them.
But yeah, we get to the graveyard, and it just like that song. I'm obsessed with that song. It's in my head all the time. Swing You Sinners.
So yeah, the singing graves are great. I like how in all these cartoons, nothing is wasted. Like every detail is animated into some type of
Yeah,
character.
everything like all like the trees turn into people and they do a little dance. Like everything has a face and is part of this thing happening to poor little Bimbo.
Even the key slot that he uses to get into the graveyard, like suddenly forms a mouth and eats the key.
That's another little cartoon thing I've seen a lot in some of these old ones, like a keyhole or a door swallowing something. Like there it happens in Bimbo's Initiation, which is another popular like it's one that a lot of
Ooh,
people have seen.
into what?
Into this, oh man, I should have made you watch that one too. Bimbo's
Like a
initiation into this,
cult?
yeah, into this weird,
The KKK? What?
yeah, no. It's this
No.
weird cult of strange looking people who I don't know, I'll show it to you later. It's a good one. The character designs for some of the little monsters in Swing You Sinners kills me because some of them are just so dopey looking and they're like especially when they're in a building near the end of it and they're dancing around and they're just like these little blobs with legs and shit.
Bones did not exist in these old cartoons.
No, no, rubber hose animation it's called, where everything and I find I you see it more obviously in the Fleischer than in the Disney, but you kind of see it in both. Everything's very
Hmm.
wiggly.
I
I
love
do,
it.
I
I hate
Yeah,
bones.
bones are useless. I like, well, the skeleton ones in these cartoons even don't have bones. They're bones, but they're wiggly bones.
The next video we watched was Mickey Mouse, the haunted house.
Yeah, that one's like more like it has. I think that was the first Mickey Mouse with horror themes. There were two or three of them in that time period. There was a good mad scientist one too. I like the haunted house one the
Oh.
best though because I'm obsessed with like the death character in it, the hooded robe guy, and he does a really good little dance.
I also like how it was basically the scene from Evil Dead 2 when Ash goes crazy by himself and everything's dancing.
It is. I mean, this cartoon has a tiny little bit of plot around it. It's just like, oh, Mickey Mouse, it's stormy out, and he runs into this haunted house, and it's spooky. And then mostly it's just like, and now these skeletons fucking party.
Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, best case scenario of breaking into a house is things dance
Yeah,
around you.
and the death guy, like, he's like the leader of whatever spooky shit is going on down here. He makes forces Mickey Mouse to play the piano, and yeah, they have a great time.
Yeah, I mean, if you broke into a house and someone didn't shoot you, but instead said, "Hey, why don't you play this piano while we all dance?" I mean, it's gonna be a
I
good
love the
time.
music in all these too. It's really good. I think yeah, all four of the ones we watched had a song in them.
Who's making this music?
Um, I'm not sure actually in those ones. It was mostly like Cab Calloway did the music for the Betty Boop one we watched, Snow White, and he's like a big band kind of guy from back then. I'm not sure what
A big band
isn't
kind of
that is
guy.
that the name
Gotcha.
of the that style of music? I'm not exactly sure.
Big band? Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
genre.
Uh, and
I
you
don't know.
know, but Cab Calloway actually. Well, I guess we can talk about that when we get to Snow White. But yeah, no, I'm not sure who did the music in those ones. Um, I think some of
Okay.
it was repeated, like it's bits of different songs that were free of copyright at the time, kind of thing, or songs that were common to use in different things.
Do you think they made this music using
Yeah,
bones?
they did.
I think
I'm
so as
surprised. I should
well.
have mentioned that. That was the single fact I knew about it, that they all the music in these cartoons had to be made with bones. It was something with the laws at the time. It was weird.
Yeah. That's why in the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, that's why they're using bones to play
Yeah,
music.
correct.
It's a throwback to these old cartoons.
Little
And Quentin Tarantino's casual racism is also a throwback
Yes,
to it.
it is. I think there wasn't too much in these ones. In the Mickey Haunted House one, I think there was a little racist joke.
I didn't even notice. I didn't notice anything. I was looking too.
And there was in Hell's Bells, no. In Swing You Sinners, there was a Jewish character kind of guy, like an exaggerated kind of thing, but it wasn't like a main focus or anything. But there were certainly some cartoons from back then that had a very racist focus.
Maybe we can do a different episode on racist
Yeah,
cartoons.
maybe. We could definitely fill out a couple episodes.
Okay, who's Betty Boop?
Betty Boop is a cartoon character.
Ah,
She was
okay.
originally a dog as well. Yeah, she
What?
was originally in one of the talk cartoons with Bimbo, and she was a stylized poodle. And she sang a little song, and she ended up so popular that she ended up taking over the show. But for a while, she was just in some episodes with Bimbo.
When did she? How and why did she evolve from a dog to a lounge single?
Betty Boop, well, she started out as a singer the whole, like she was always the type,
Okay,
like she was a sexy dog character with like,
my favorite type of
yeah,
dog.
with like all the Betty Boop traits, but just more in line with the rest of the characters. But then she slowly became more human and cuter, and like her first couple even focused ones where she wasn't as poodly. She was really like the character design was very squashed and fat and weird and deformed. And then over the years, like the Betty Boop you see now on everything is like a normal woman almost with just a weird looking head.
I don't know anything about the background or what she does. Is she employed at some type of lounge, or does she just walk around singing?
So for it kind
What's
of
the
changed.
deal?
I mean, they didn't really settle on for the cartoons from like the 20s and 30s. They didn't really settle on a backstory for Betty. She was just kind of like a cute, weird character, and she could be up to anything in any cartoon. Later on in the later 30s, she ended up being she had some more backstory. I didn't watch as many of those, though. The early ones, she's just like sometimes she's a singer, sometimes she's just a girl. Yeah.
Okay. Now, in the one we watched, it was just called Snow
Yeah,
White, which yeah.
that one was just a little take on Snow White, obviously,
Oh,
which you may have heard of.
she is not dressed for the
She
snow.
looks cold, yeah. It doesn't have much to do like the whole cartoon is basically like Snow White flavoring around a Cab Calloway song in the middle of it, and it's a cool song.
Now, wait a minute. How was this dog sexy? Did this dog have cleavage, or what was
Oh,
going
and a
on?
lot of these early Betty Boops, they were very, like I said, they weren't really aimed at kids or anything. So there's some really racy humor, like, but there's lots of stuff like you can see Betty Boop's underwear. I think there are a couple where like her shirt falls down. Very racy stuff for that time.
Okay, I'm googling sexy dog. Oh my god, I I regret
Okay,
this
now I'm
immediately.
also googling sexy dog.
These are some
They
sexy
are some really
dogs.
sexy dogs.
Yeah, I fucked some of these. What about you?
Um, most of them.
Okay, good to know. Back to non-sexy dogs.
Bimbo, how dare you say that about Bimbo?
Bimbo's
Bimbo
not in
is
this,
in
is he?
Snow White. Yeah,
Who is he?
he's he's just with like Coco the clown is the singing character for most of it. And
I love
yeah,
him.
oh yeah, he's great. Coco.
I love it when he turns into a
Mhm.
ghost.
That's such a brilliant scene. Like, I don't know if you noticed the background a lot, but there's lots of like strange pictures painted in the background as he's doing his weird transformative dance.
I did not
Yeah,
notice
the
that.
backdrop there is really neat. And that whole dance is rotoscoped over Cab Calloway.
What does that mean?
I touched on that in my book or in my story in uh Lost Films, actually.
I did not read that.
But rotoscoping is rotoscoping is tracing over basically Cab Calloway was like the singer. He did the song and he was like a dancer and a performer, entertainer, whatever. So they videotaped his performance and the animators just traced the character over him. So it had a really smooth human look to it, which is weird once they
Okay.
pile that strange character over it.
Yeah, I was gonna say this clown had some sick dancing
Yeah,
moves, and now I know
it's all
why.
very
I was
smooth
impressed.
and surreal the way he moves and the way the animators transformed it into like he turns into different shapes and there's lots of weird stuff going on. It's a really, really cool scene.
Yeah, I didn't know that was his name, but yeah, he was the highlight of the cartoon for me.
Yeah, by this point already, by like 1933, like Bimbo had already kind of fallen aside. He used to be the main character in most of the cartoons, and now he's just kind of like Betty and Coco's friend.
Oh man, so who's Betty with? Who is she with now?
Man, she ended up a while later with this guy called Freddie, and it is absolutely like you have to look up a picture of Freddie from Betty Boop, Fred the Fearless. He looks exactly like Betty Boop, and it's fucking disgusting.
I'm looking it up. Hold on.
Okay,
Who the
try.
fuck is this? Is some type of podcast will name
Okay, sorry.
this.
Try Fred the Fearless, Betty Boop, and
He's just saluting the camera in all the images. What the
right.
fuck?
So Fred the Fearless has the exact same like facial features as Betty Boop and the big eyelashes and the big old like girl eyes and the little lips. Like he looks the same hair, except he's just a big old
Whoa.
man. So that's who she left
Did
Bimbo for. What the
wow.
fuck?
I'm really confused
Yeah,
by
me too.
this, and I don't know what to say about it.
It messed me up, man. When the first time I saw Fearless Fred and I knew she was no longer with Bimbo, I gotta say, it was a rough day.
The plot of this is odd. Is Betty always so clumsy?
Yeah, Betty's pretty silly and clumsy. Definitely, yeah.
I could relate to that,
Yeah.
definitely.
Betty's basically Max, which is confusing, but true.
But she also has a like strange hypnotizing abilities because she kind of sets these two executionals into a trance. When she's about to be beheaded, or deheaded, or decapitated, she says some type of spell, and both of the two guys just kind of have crazy things going on in their eyes, and they just leap down a
Oh, I
hole.
think they were just like in love with her, and then I forget exactly how that worked out. Yeah.
Betty Boop is
Betty
a
Boop
witch.
is a witch, yeah. There's a lot of witchcraft going on in this episode, or short, or whatever you'd call it.
What would you call it?
Um, I'm gonna call it an episode. It wasn't really
Okay,
an
I'm good
episode.
with
Like they
that.
weren't on TV in this time. They were. I think they were mostly played like before movies in the
So,
theater.
what would you call what we're doing right now? This is not an episode.
Mm, I would call
Hmm.
this a film.
That's incorrect. That's not how any of this
I
is
mean, like
working.
you asked me what I would call it. It wasn't like a right or wrong thing. I thought it was. I mean, we're writers. I thought we were just, being creative here.
My new conspiracy is that later on, Betty Boop discovers time travel, and she goes back in time to be with herself, but in the future, she gets ripped.
So it's pretty.
So
It's
this whole time, Fred is
yeah.
just
It's like
Betty.
that movie. What's it called? Based on that. All You Zombies. Yeah, Robert Heinlein did a song called or a story called All You Zombies where
Oh
yeah.
yes, I know what you're talking about. Is that the one where there's like a time traveling machine inside of a
Yeah.
restaurant?
Yeah, that one. And then
Okay,
there's a
yeah.
movie based on
I
it as well.
I haven't seen the movie. I love time travel stories because there's always a good chance that someone's gonna have sex with like their
Hmm.
grandpa,
And that's the
and
kind of
that
thing you're
I'm
into.
down. Yeah,
Um,
I love
yeah.
incest. You can quote me on that.
Okay, I will.
Well, I mean, we've covered the episodes we saw. Any other thoughts about spooky cartoons?
I don't know, there's something about like the Disney ones are like about spooky topics, but none of them are very spooky. But sometimes there's something about the Fleischer ones that I do actually find a little unsettling. Like the animation's just a little something about the grittiness of it. It just makes you feel different. Do you find they have a weird feel to them?
I think so, and I think it has a lot to do with the lack of
Yeah.
bones.
Everything
The way
moves.
everything's so wobbly.
And just like the dream logic to it as well. And of course, because now we're used to looking at animation that looks different and more polished. So when you look at the stuff that's black and white and it's kind of skippy and everything's not perfect and computerized, it has a different feel to it. And this stuff is like 100 years old now almost.
What are you reading lately?
Um, what am I reading lately? I just finished reading. Oh shoot, what was that called? The Max, I'm not prepared for all these questions. I
The
wasn't.
way oh the
The way we were,
the way we
the way
come
we come.
in.
Yeah, yeah, the way we
Is that
came
what it's
in
called?
by Kelby
Um,
Losack. Yeah, I couldn't remember his last name. That
yes.
was great. I think I will read his other book now because I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's called Heathenish,
Yeah.
right?
Um.
Yeah, I like him. He was in Lost Films as well.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I've. Which story was his?
He it's called Daddy's in a Snuff
Oh
Film.
yeah, I liked that one. Yeah,
He's a good writer. He should write more stuff and then publish it so we can all read it.
that sounds good. Next on my list
Yeah,
is "I'm Not Even Supposed to Be Here Today" by Brian Asman. You might know him. I don't know.
I do. I have his book
Yeah,
as well. Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but I'm eventually going to.
sure. Yeah.
I just finished A Hawk in the Woods by Kelly Laben, which was fantastic and something you would like a lot, I
Okay,
think.
I will have to read.
Yeah, it's about a witch family. Like it goes back and forth between this lady's childhood and what's going on now that she's in her 20s. And she grew up like in this fucked up witch family, and now she like does news on TV, but she's been diagnosed with some like terminal illness, so she breaks her sister out of prison to well do some
That
stuff
sounds.
that's
I like
witchy.
witchy
Yeah.
stuff. I just wrote a little witchy story too.
All right. So what do you think of this? Should this be a show? Should this be an ongoing thing?
I
Or
wouldn't
should we
listen to it.
delete this immediately? No? Okay, great. You fucking asshole. How can people find you online, Betty?
BettyRocksteady.com is my website, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter as Betty Rocksteady.
All right, and you also wrote a book called The Writhing
Hey, I did.
Skies, which I published. Yeah, so if anyone's listening to this, if I decide to upload it, hey, go buy that book.
I'm not buying it. I know what it's about.
Thank you for listening to Ghoulish. I am Max Booth, a host, and you just listened to an episode with Betty Rocksteady, author of The Writhing Skies, winner of Best Novella of the Year from This Is Who. If you want 10% off this book, go on over to perpetualpublishing.com. You'll see the book on the homepage. Click it. Enter discount code This Is Rocksteady. You will get 10% off the book. Do not wait. We also have a Ghoulish t-shirt over at tpublic.com/user/PMM publishing. Go buy that. Put it on. You won't be cold. And support us on patreon.com/PMM publishing. Rate and review us on iTunes. And don't forget, live spooky, die spooky.